Hey everyone, I had a pretty fun weekend last month, going to Boston once again for Anthro New England 2022. Yeah, I know it was a month ago, but I was waiting for any decent UtterCon photos and video footage to be available for this report, in addition to my own. Anyways, I was really looking forward to this one, because their theme was back to the 90s, a decade I grew up in. So of course I had the appropriate fashion ready and packed. Friday morning I got up early, around the time I usually do to go to work, except this time it was busier because I wanted to be dropped off at the local train station to ride the rails into Boston. But the train I rode in on was slowed down a bit due to an issue with one of the railroad crossings in Braintree. No, it wasn't a car and train accident, thankfully, like in 2019. But a problem with the crossing signals, presumably due to a power failure from the high winds that morning. So the train had to crawl through that one crossing. And I'm arriving at the Boston Park Plaza Hotel a little later than I typically would. There was a long line for pre-registered con attendees to get their con badge. So I pretty much missed the opening ceremonies. But then I got into character here, checked into my hotel room and dropped off my luggage there, and then I donned my Rocco triangle shirt and geometric cap and was ready to party 90s style. This year, I left my record player at home. As we know, records were pretty much out of fashion in the 90s. So I instead brought my cassette recorder and played a literal mixtape I prepared here of my favorite 90s songs. It was fun kicking that off with Do the Bartman. I even did a photo room shoot dressed in that 90s outfit. But what was particularly exciting that day was that I hosted my first panel there. One about 1990s kids' computer games. It's very fitting given the con's 90s theme. I had a PowerPoint presentation, the link for that is provided in the video description, and then I demonstrated several of the games. I emulated them on my 2012 Unibody MacBook Pro here. Since it's the Intel processor that made it easier to run VMware Fusion to do so. People did gradually leave as the game demonstrations went on. But hey, at least they stayed for the initial presentation, and that's what's important. I think I made out pretty well there. Then after that came the fursuit games. And for that, pulled on my custom Toon Squad jersey here. Look at that, it's got my name and everything. And I partook in some real competitive furry mayhem. I was on the red team this year, and while we lost, it was still fun. And it was nice how me and my friends Teddy, with his Twilight Sparkle cosplay, and Taylor the Wolf were all teammates this year. First we did the scooter obstacle course thing, and that was fun. But with a different host this year, things were shaken up a bit. No charades this year. Instead, we did the musical freeze tag game right afterward. Took quite a while for me to end up out, I might add. After that came the experimental game involving colored play-place balls, in which we had to throw as many as we can in the opposing team's bags. And it sure got wild. A few of the balls hit me on the nose, too. Ouch. But in the end, I had a great time competing in the fursuit games once again. After that, I grabbed some dinner and brought back to the hotel, where I met up with a few more friends, both some old friends of mine I had met at previous conventions. I made a few new friends, of course. And I attended a meetup for furry rail enthusiasts like I am, and I danced at the rave a bit before turning in back at my hotel room. But I didn't sleep very much that night due to my allergies. There must have been a few triggers around that old hotel building. But on Saturday morning, I was able to grab breakfast and coffee at the nearby Dunkies, and then don that same 90s themed outfit again. That morning, I also met up with my good friend and YouTube follower, Kendron, the Wild Pig. Look at us! Then I grabbed lunch, and we all partook in the big fursuit group photo. Nearly 500 of us all there, and it was fun to be part of such a big crowd. After that came the fursuit parade through the Boston Public Gardens, with Kendra and I marching together for the most part. And it was fun to show off those 90s duds to the public. There were 494 fursuiters in the parade overall. After that, I met up with another friend, and we went to that In Your Ear record store for a bit. And after that, I picked up some dinner to bring back into the hotel, where I saw a bit of the Animal music concert, where my friend Scurro was one of the performers, as the Too Much Pasta raccoon. And then after a bit of touching up, yep, a new glue gun, I switched to my rapper outfit and began playing my literal mixtape again. One fun bit was when I met up with my Lucario friend Ruben, who was hanging out with another blue fursuiter while I was playing Blue Dabba Dee on my cassette. Perfect, huh? Then I attended the Saturday night rave for a bit, and also played a little Super Mario Brothers in the video game room. After that, I headed back to my hotel room for the night. And this time, I slept a lot better, even if I did briefly wake up a couple times due to that fairly hard mattress. Come Sunday morning, I had breakfast and coffee again for donkeys, and then I packed up my belongings, which was fairly easy because I usually still keep much of them in my overnight case and duffel bag while in the hotel room. Especially since it's a small economy room that I'm fine with. Then I checked out of my hotel room, which by the time I was now wearing that Big Bad Wolf shirt with the freaky off-model version from Disney's Three Little Pigs Golden Book. I wore that shirt to a panel about classic furry or Anthro cartoons that my friend Anthro Coon put on. Then after that came the fursuit recess. Unlike in 2020 when I had nausea on the last day of the con after eating that bad 7-Eleven hot dog, this time I was able to participate. And fun bit was when a host, Meep, did his Simon Says game, appropriately titled Meep Says, and I was one of the winners. Simon Says has always been a good strength of mine. And after that I got lunch. And then after that I mostly hung out with my friends Kendra and Teddy for much of the afternoon in the gaming room, talking about cartoons and YouTube poops while playing Jenga. And then after that, the slow, melancholic period where things wind down, and then everything perks up again with the closing ceremonies. This year we had 2,353 attendees. That's only around 200 less than 2 years ago, but still, even with this pandemic, that's a very good turnout. Especially since registration required proof of vaccination, which I was glad to provide. Also, there have been reports on how, for quite a while now, the spread rate of COVID has been steadily decreasing at conventions, and this is no exception. In fact, they recommended that all the attendees get tested afterwards, so I did so and it came back negative, not surprisingly. And with the numbers rising, the con keeps growing. Next year we're moving to another location, the Westin Boston Seaport District Hotel. That's literally across the street from the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center where Fan Expo Boston is located. So again, it'll still be an easy trip for me. And I'm especially looking forward to next year's theme, trains. Another theme that's right up my alley. I'll definitely want to bring my railroad engineer's cap here, the one I like to wear when running my model trains. Also, the creator here is developing another persona that may accompany me to Anthro New England 2023. Sam Valentino, Private Toon Detective. Hey, quite a few such detectives have solved mysteries on trains, so he should fit in pretty well. His fursuit construction should be starting sometime next month, and it'll be a partial, so it'll be a little easier. But anyways, I hope you like my little report about my first furry convention I've been to since the pandemic began 2 years ago. And let me tell you, it was great to be back. Well, this year's Anime Boston will not be until near the end of May, so it's going to be a grueling wait until I return to the big city again. So until then, I'll still be here making YouTube videos, so keep watching to see what I come up with next.